This one, there's a relationship between violence and intimacy. A lot of the intimacy is very violent and the violence is very intimate. I'm wondering if you could talk about that relationship or how you see filming it.
Well, it's something I felt was more or less always in film, and it's almost something I discovered watching film even before I realized it was also in literature, you know. I was reading today in the plane coming here this article, the critic of the King Lear in New York with this great English actress, and there was a quote of King Lear speaking to one of his daughters, and I think, wow, I was amazed, you know. Of course, I remember, but yet each time those words so sweet and so violent together, you know, like he predict a womb will never carry an angel, you know, something like that, the exact word. And I think it's in those moments I feel how fragile and full of emotion we are, you know. For me it means a lot, your questions, because I think it's very close, this intimacy. It's why the world in jail is often so violent, because the intimacy is forced. Of course, I don't know if I answered properly. All right.
Thank you.
Hello. When I think about your films, I often think of these beautiful and mysterious camera movements in your films, especially L'Intrus. It seems like the camera has a mind of its own, and it's very difficult for me to predict what I'm going to see. And one thing that surprised me about High Life is that you seem to move the camera less in this film than in most of your others. And I was wondering what motivated this decision.
You mean less?
Yes.
Well, the thing is, we were in a set, in a studio, and we built this small ship, you know, with the corridor in the middle and the lower floor, and I think it was like a jail for ourselves, you know. So you mentioned L'Intrus. L'Intrus is in vast, it's big forest, big landscape in the South Pacific, you know. And we shot in scope. Here it's like a jail, you know. It's so narrow, so claustrophobic, you know. It would have been weird to be moving like a fly, you know. I think we were also in jail, in a way.
Thank you.
And a film, I think a camera movement doesn't need to be beautiful. It's better when it's necessary because you've got the feeling of it, you know, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you to you.
I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to alienation as a space and a dynamic in this film. Obviously, alienation is a tool of power within prisons, and also a condition, I would say, of separation from a mother, maybe from Earth, maybe, I think that there's a lot of ways that alienation plays a primary role.
Wow, it's a tough question because I'm not sure I understood everything. Alienation, yes. Separation from Earth, yes. I think that they have been offered another way to expect death instead of being in a death corridor. They are offered this horrible proposition, to be lab rat. But maybe they choose it because it's probably better than to be in the death corridor waiting and waiting and waiting every day the same. At least still in jail they have maybe a sort of mission, like a vague hope that something might happen, like for instance reaching a black hole or whatever. And being so far away from the solar system in itself, it's something for a human being, it could be the ultimate experience of life, So for me, alienation, it's a word I am afraid of, because it's a concept, And me, I don't work with concepts, so I work with more like words that express emotion or feeling. I would never think I'm doing a film about alienation. It will be, I would have nothing to say about that, So I try to make film with a material I know, or even if I don't know it because I've never been in space, I sort of imagine. This is not very brilliant what I just say, but concepts are difficult to translate for me.
Hi, thank you for signing my film scores book earlier. So I guess my one question is related to probably your most frequent collaborator, which is probably my favorite band of all time, Tindersticks. You've been working with them since the mid-90s, whether it's Tindersticks as a whole or Dickin on the solo effort, and then now Stewart on his solo effort. So what is it about Stewart and the band that makes you keep going back to them, working them each time?
Yeah, 20 years, a little more, yeah. It's long collaboration with Stewart, and this time Stewart wanted to do also the sound design, not only the music. And he wrote the song Willow for Robert. It's, for me, it's a collaboration that it's almost a miracle because I met them. I went to a concert in Paris, their first concert in Paris, and I was preparing a movie and I asked them if I could use a song, one of their songs, my sister, and Stewart told me immediately, wow, it's sad just to give you a song, let's try to do a score together. And since then, we never speak about the future, but since then, I send in the script and he sent me music. I mean, there is no, I think it's like a secret relationship, Not because I was shy with him, he was also shy with film score, and we were, in a way, let's try. That's all. And for me too, they are extremely important. And I regret Deacon. I regret the loss of Deacon, but people who work together sometimes they have to split. But the longest companion I have is Agnès Godard, the DP, and Jean-Paul Fajot, the scriptwriter. 30 years now, yeah. Although Agnès didn't do this film.
I have a short Russian question. So
Great.
I can also ask in Russian if you want. So what is the influence of Andrei Tarkovsky's Solaris to this movie? Because while the script and story very different, this movie feel very similar by many reasons actually. Death and life, position in universe and so on. So how it personally influenced you to make this movie?
A lot of influence from Andrei Tarkovsky, since the way when he did Stalker and Solaris, he worked with novel written by this great writer Lem, and I think it's a different aspect of science fiction. It's not war, it's not conquest, it's a sort of extra, as if the cosmos and the universe in Lem novel and in Tarkovsky movie, where the universe is composed by us, by our memories, our wishes, the lost love, and what we know about our Mother Nature. That's why I made the garden. I made it for Andrei Tarkovsky, actually.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, Claire. I love your film. Thank you so much for being here. And I guess my question is, what I love so much about, a few of your films I've seen is that, these female characters, you're just, utterly disgusted by them, and then there's these moments where you're like, oh my gosh, I love them. They're so beautiful. And I think, I don't know if this is a comment or a question, but it's so funny, I was watching White Material a few weeks ago, and, Isabelle Huppert character, I'm like, okay, she really, she wants to save this thing. And then there was one point where I yelled out at the screen shut up! I was just so frustrated with her as well. And I just love that you have this courage to write these females that you can just almost hate, but then you find these moments where you're just in love with them. Julia Binoche, I'm maybe all she really wanted was to hold a baby again, maybe this whole journey for her was just to experience that. And then you realize, wow, I didn't know that could have been underneath that. So, I guess my question is, how, and I don't know if you can answer this, but, how do you even begin a process to, write, especially, female characters like that, which is just so refreshing to see?
I would like to say something. For me, a female character is horrible to hear. My ears are suffering. It's women. Female, for me, I don't know what it is, It's a genre, gender, It's like when I was in the toilet downstairs, I saw Don't Throw feminine product. I was so amazed. In a place like here, in Boston, it could be written feminine product. What do you... No, so women, let's go back to me. A character like Juliette Binoche in this ship is almost inspired completely by Medea, the Greek Medea, you know, who killed her children because of the betrayal of her husband, you know. So I think also in Shakespeare, I mean, in literature, I mean, I think in the conscience of humanity, women were often able to be strongest, violent, rare characters, you know, as maybe because women, I don't know, I think maybe probably masculinity is afraid of femininity in many ways in those stories. They are, I don't know, it's probably something like that, but me, I do not invent special, I think it's maybe me, I like those women very much, you know. I have no doubt about that because they have to be extreme. They have no, even the character interpreted by Mia Goth, when she crashed herself in the first black hole, she is really, she can't stand that she has been betrayed, you know. She has been cheated by the doctor. I like those, yeah. I think they are very woman, very feminine.